A lot of times when I'm watching a movie, there will be a moment that makes me just go, I love this movie. Or there might be a moment that makes me go, damn, this is a really good movie. Now, these are two distinct feelings. I love Scream, but I don't think Scream is a masterpiece by any means. Whereas earlier this year, I saw Killers of the Flower Moon, and I thought that was a damn near perfect movie, but I don't think it's going to be one of those movies that I watch over and over again. But every once in a while, those feelings intersect, and it's like magic. It happened when I saw Parasite, it happened when I saw Spotlight, and it happened when I saw Anatomy of a Fall in theaters a few weeks ago. Anatomy of a Fall is directed by Justine Triet, and it is a legal drama about a woman accused of murdering her husband, where the main witness is their blind son. Now, the movie is 59% in French, but the rest is in English. So if you're one of those people that's like, you know, I know there's a lot of great foreign films out there, but reading subtitles for 2.5 hours is kind of intimidating, then this is a great chance to get your feet wet because a lot of it's in English. Now, the main surface level focus of the story is the question of did she do it? Did the husband fall to his death? Or was he struck and killed and pushed off the balcony? And I thought that the story did a great job at keeping the audience guessing throughout. During the trial, one side will produce a witness that will come in and say, here's why it had to happen this way. This is definitive proof. And then the other side will come out and say, no, actually, we did some testing, and here's the results, and it shows that it's very possible that it could have happened this other way. The story also has a secondary function, which is an exploration into the characters. Because the film wants to keep the audience guessing, the characters need to have depth that shows their complexities. The audience needs to understand that these characters, their histories, their relationships are all complicated. And the movie does a great job at fleshing these characters out while staying within the confines of the main story. Every conversation, every flashback, every argument between the characters gives a sense of validity to the points that both sides are trying to illustrate. For example, during one flashback scene, there's an argument between the husband and wife, and the script does such a good job at ensuring that both characters have valid points. It's really hard to pick a side because both characters are right. So, in talking about the characters, we also have to talk about the performances. Every main actor in this movie did a phenomenal job and has their own time in the spotlight. Even the dog had some legitimate acting in this movie. But there are two performances that I want to single out. Number one, Sandra Hüller plays the wife, and she is amazing. In her loud moments, in her more reserved moments, she is captivating through it all. And she is what makes this movie work as well as it does. Second, Milo Machado Grenay. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that name. He plays Daniel, the blind son, and he is just unbelievable. The director put a ton of weight on his performance by giving him multiple long takes and emotional monologues, and he just absolutely crushes all of them. I was just completely floored by his performance. It's by far the best child acting I've ever seen, and it's what convinced me that this movie is a masterpiece. The cinematography of this movie is simply outstanding. You can really tell that everything in frame at any given moment was calculated and intentional and serves a purpose. There are a lot of long takes in this movie, and I'd be really curious to see what the average shot length was, because it seemed like every scene had a long take or some other creative camera work. For example, a lot of times one of our main characters will be having a conversation with one of our side characters, and instead of flipping the focus back and forth depending on who's speaking, the camera will stay on our main character throughout, and that gives us insight into the performance and the feelings and emotions of our main character when they're being spoken to, not just when they're speaking. Another thing I thought was really interesting about this movie is that there really isn't a score. The only music we hear is when the son plays the piano or when the husband's blasting music, and there's really not much else. Now, this is a massive risk reward creative decision because, on one hand, we're more immersed in the story because we're experiencing sound exactly as the characters do. But on the other hand, with no score, everything the audience is supposed to feel has to be manufactured by what the characters say and do. So it's another massive weight being dropped onto the performances. But as I've said, the performances are incredible, so I think this risk of not having a score really paid off. I absolutely loved Anatomy of a Fall. I saw it once by myself, and then I came home and told a bunch of people all about it, and I convinced them to come with me to see it a second time, and they all really liked it too. It is my favorite movie of the year so far, and I hope that hearing me talk about it convinces someone to see it because, in my eyes, it truly is a masterpiece.